I don't love this gavel, so I'm just gonna let you do it without the
Summer meeting.
yeah, no gavel in the summer, exactly. So, first thing first, let's call the meeting to order. Oh my gosh, you guys, I was at the beach last week. I don't remember even where I am. Okay, we're gonna call the meeting to order. Can we take the roll, please? Are we gonna do the pledge first?
Yeah.
Great, let's do the pledge first instead.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now, here we go. Let's see if I'm really with it or not. Is this new?
It is.
It's nice.
I was waiting for somebody to recognize it.
It looks really nice.
So-
All right, so let's take the roll. Thank you.
Ms. Shaw.
Here.
Mr. Crum.
Here.
Ms. Dees. Here. Ms. Colheim. Here. Mr. Wolf.
Here.
You guys, this says call to order and then pledge allegiance and then, all right,
Yes.
perfect,
And
perfect,
then roll call.
perfect. And then we just need to approve
Okay.
the agenda as amended.
So I'm going to highlight the changes to the agenda. Jim Redding is in group 3 on the agenda. He's actually in group 1. And then we have Jessica Smith, who is group 6 and is actually group 5. So those would be the changes to the agenda for approval.
That a little bit. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brown for the district highlights.
Well, we need a motion.
Oh my gosh.
Motion.
Why are there so many people here? Way to sing this. Can I please get a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved. Okay, then I'll do the second.
Thanks. Take the roll, please.
Ms. Dees.
Aye.
Ms. Colheim. Aye. Mr. Wolf.
Aye.
Mr. Crum.
Aye.
Ms. Shaw.
Aye. Now I'd like to turn it over to Mr. Brown. This is the best part of the meeting, so I want to jump ahead.
Yes, it is. I agree.
So he's going to give us our district highlights and recognitions for this month, one of which is right up there.
Yes. So you can see up on the screen this wonderful picture that was drawn by, or painted by, Scarlett Waltz, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So we are excited to recognize Scarlett Waltz from Granville High School is this year's high school winner of the River Roundup Poster Contest. This is a contest that the Licking Soil and Water holds every year to help promote the River Roundup event. One of the prizes for this contest is a $500 scholarship awarded to the student's school to use towards science and arts programming. So this year, Granville High School will be receiving $500. Deidre Wise, from the conservation educator from the Licking Soil and Water Conservation District, is here to present the check to high school principal Scott Hinton and Scarlett. We would love for you to come up and get a picture as well. Congratulations to Scarlett, and that's pretty talented. Yeah, she can.
Do you want to do it from the picture, or you want to do it?
Yes. Well, we're gonna, Mr. Yeah, let's take it from the front. All right, everybody smile.
Two, three. Thank you.
Did you want to say anything? Okay, all right. And he's gonna give that to her. That's how this works. Congratulations. Next, we get to recognize our Blue Aces from our track program. So what a season for the track Blue Aces. Our athletes represented Granville with pride, determination, and championship level performances all season long. All Ohio honors, senior Annie McCracken, state runner-up in pole vault. Sophomore Tori Reynolds, third place in the high jump. Senior Cade Roberts, third place in the high jump. Senior Bodie Shopes, fourth place in the 100-meter dash and 200-meter dash. And all Ohio Academic Honors seniors, Audrey Ames, Charlotte Turner, Caleb Sproul, Nolan Cheney, Sebastian Rogers, Grady Johnson, Bodie Shobes, Cade Roberts, juniors Liam Duffy, Ben Rose, and sophomore Tori Reynolds and Sophie Price. The state team finishes, the boys finished 10th overall, and the girls finished 13th. If you heard your name or you're part of the track program and you're here tonight, please come on up and let's recognize Coach Rex Carr and his efforts, and come on up. Congratulations. That from the actual name. Congratulations. Congratulations. All right, now we'll take a picture real quick. Scoot in. All right.
There you go, much better. 2, 3. Okay, thank you.
Congratulations. So, to wrap up the comments on that, from practices to big-time performances on the biggest stage, this team showed what it means to compete with heart, grit, and pride, and the future is bright for the Blue Ace track program. So congratulations again on behalf of our entire community as we've watched you compete this entire year. So congratulations. And then lastly, we get to recognize Andy Wildman. There are names and faces synonymous with certain programs and activities within Granville. Andy Wildman is synonymous with the Marching Blue Aces and also the arts program. More importantly, the arts as a whole. As the president of the Arts Boosters, it's hard to think of another person that has had an impact on the arts as much as Andy Wildman has. His passion is clear. He's dedicated his life to kind of supporting the arts, and Dallas has supported him in his pursuit of supporting the arts. So what I've really appreciated about Andy is him showing up for our program all the time. There are a lot of activities that the band participates in. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. Like every weekend, every week. And Andy has always shown up. He also gets up on stage before all the performances and asks for money to support the arts and participation in the Arts Boosters, which takes a lot of people, you know, moving and collectively working together to support the arts program. I have said that we have an amazing academic program. We have a phenomenal athletic program. Our arts department is truly one of the best in the state. If you go to the competitions, Scarlett, you sing all the time, and we hear you sing, and you can paint too. You're amazingly talented, but our music program is truly phenomenal, and we have dedicated staff to achieve that goal, but it takes people and volunteers like Andy Wildman to help it all come together. So Andy, on behalf of the Board of Education, the community, thank you for your 8 years as service as booster president, and I hear you're hanging up the drumsticks for a little bit, but I have a feeling it's going to be hard to walk away from. So I have a feeling you'll be in the background cheering us on. So Andy, come on up. Thank you very much. Well, let's get the Granville schools.
2, 3. Thanks.
That's okay. So now people will know that we are actually, I get called Andy Wildman all the time, and he gets called Jeff Brown, so that just happens that way. So this concludes our commendation, and thank you all for being here. This is the time that if you want to scoot, you can scoot. So thank you.
We're just going to move on to our staff reports, sort of staff, I mean,
Yes.
our legislation update is this way. Staff.
Yes, so Dan Dodd is our legislative lobbyist, who we've been working for the past 2 years. So Dan, I'd invite you up to share your report with the Board of Education.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to be with you tonight to talk about some of the things that both myself and ZHF Consulting, which is where I work, that we've been working on for the district. So as Jeff mentioned, we've been representing the school district and the village for now close to 2 years. I believe we started in September 2 years ago, and so, or close to 2 years ago. So one of the things that we have been working on over that time period, one is to specifically address the issues that have occurred with heat bills. And our efforts started with raising awareness with local lawmakers, those who represent Granville and Licking County. And we were able to take steps forward in that respect in early 2025 by having Senate Bill 173 introduced. As you'll recall, Senate Bill 173, introduced by Senators Schaefer and Brenner, would redo or reform how school district lines are affected by annexation into an unincorporated area. At the time, we were very excited to have Senator Brenner be one of the sponsors, seeing as how he is at this time, the chairman of the Senate Education Committee. Unfortunately, since that bill was introduced in 2025, the bill has not received sponsor testimony hearing. So there are rules in the House and the Senate that every bill introduced before May of the even-numbered year is supposed to receive a hearing, and we still haven't received one, which is highly unusual, and there has not been an explanation given either by Senator Schaefer or Senator Brenner, even when asked directly about it. Looking at that and understanding that apparently progress is going to be hard to make in the Senate, we decided to pivot over to the House and try both a short-term and a long-term strategy by engaging Representative Claggett, as well as David Thomas, who represents Ashtabula County, but is heavily involved in school funding matters, to introduce a bill essentially giving the district the ability to appeal to the State Board of Education in the event of this type of an annexation, and ask the State Board to reform the district boundaries. That's sort of more the long-term strategy. In the short term, we had an amendment drafted to Senate Bill 19, which was a bill that was moving through the legislative process quickly. And our community did a wonderful job reaching out to the legislators, asking them to adopt this as part of Senate Bill 19. The feedback that we got from House members was mostly positive, but we had one negative. The positives were that the community did a great job of raising awareness of the issue as it affects Granville, and really conveyed the urgency behind this and the need for reform. The only negative we had was that House leadership correctly ascertained that this is an issue that doesn't just affect Granville. It is a statewide problem that will continue to be a statewide problem when developments are built based entirely on where the district is, what district that land is contained in. As a result of that, members of House leadership would like to look at this as a statewide issue and come up with a permanent solution that will help districts deal with these types of situations. That's a nice way of saying this is going to take much longer to fix than just having the amendment put into the bill. So coming up with workable solutions is something that we are ready and willing to work with both House and Senate members on. But again, it is going to take longer than what we had hoped. But I think the board should be pleased with the way that the community has stepped up on this issue to convey their concerns to Heath City Council, as well as to members of the General Assembly. And we continue to stand ready and willing to help the district move forward with legislative solutions that will protect Granville and its residents. So I can answer any questions.
I'm sorry. Did you get any sense of timing from leadership?
We, Chair and Mr. Wolf, we asked about, obviously, we weren't able to get it done before they went on summer recess. Lame duck session remains a possibility. However, there are members of House leadership who represent areas of the state that are also impacted by this. They would like to see something more permanent. And frankly, just that's closer to Senate Bill 173, something more permanent, something more defined that communities can rely on. Of course, the reason that we came off of what was in Senate Bill 173 is that we had people say, well, maybe it's too severe. So then we tried to do something that gave a little bit more leeway, made it less definite. The State Board of Education, one of the only things they do now is determine district territory lines. So we thought that would make sense to have them be the arbiter in this situation. But there are members of the House who just want to see the lines move automatically. So if that's the case, you're going to have a lot of stakeholder meetings with developers, building association, that type of thing. And it's going to be a much longer slog, unfortunately. But it is something, depending on the results of the November election, it's possible it could be in the next biennial budget, just depending on how those conversations go.
May I follow up? So if something does come to fruition here, it wouldn't affect, if Heath Hills moves forward, it wouldn't help us, because they'd already be in process and...
So, President and Mr. Wolf, one of the things, and this is something that we've done to educate members of both the House and the Senate, so not to get into the weeds, and I told Jeff I was going to keep this short, but I'm going to probably get into more details than what he signed up for. So one of the things that is unique about school districts in the state of Ohio, the Ohio Constitution delegates the responsibility to determine a thorough and efficient system of common schools throughout the state to the General Assembly. Part of that process is the creation of school districts. So the ability to determine school district boundaries lies with the General Assembly, who has then delegated that to the State Board of Education. Those lines, because they are a state constitutional provision in the General Assembly, has that authority and responsibility, can change at any time. So the example that I give with legislators is that if there was a movement, and there isn't one right now, but if there was a movement to make Ohio have 88 school districts, one in each county, a developer could not come in and say, you can't do that because I planned on building my houses in Granville School District. So the state clearly has the ability to change these lines in any way they choose, regardless of what is happening with proposed or future developments. So any legislative proposal that we would put forward could very well affect Heath Hills, and it is not the impairment of the obligation of a contract, and it's not retroactive because the functioning of the law would be moving forward. It would be prospective in nature to just say, this is how the lines are going to look moving forward. So that is something that we've taken pains to make sure that members of the General Assembly understand, and it could very well. Now, 173 does have language in it that says that the land would have to be largely undeveloped. Given the time frame that we would be looking at, that would still be in effect. That land would not be developed by the time this would be enacted.
So hypothetically, the General Assembly let's say a development anywhere in Ohio is built, General Assembly could come in, let's say it's an X school district. You could come in and say, now you're in Y school district.
That's correct.
Even if it already, even if it already exists?
Even if it already exists, I mean, they could do that now. So, I mean, they could combine the Newark City School District and Heath City School District. I mean, it's just the way that the constitutional language reads and the authority that the General Assembly has. We have this system because of the consolidation that happened in the 1950s, because we used to have a lot more than 612 school districts. And they forced consolidation based on enrollment in that district, which is how we ended up with these lines, because of the Union Township essentially being dissolved, and some of those precincts going to Lakewood and others going to Granville.
Thank you.
So for community members who want to share their opinion on this with lawmakers, is it best for them to kind of hold off a little bit until after the election? Is it something you want to keep the gas pedal on?
Well, President, the General Assembly's not going to be there. So between from now or last week and through November, so it's going to be a little slow. And if they're expecting any immediate progress, that's not going to happen. But we certainly think, to the extent, I would certainly recommend, to the extent that community members have the ability to interact with their members of General Assembly, to continue to press this, to continue to make sure that they understand that this is important, and this really could have a detrimental impact. The actions of Heath could really have a detrimental impact on Granville. And as it was pointed out to me by someone who will remain nameless, there was one thing that happened recently where, and I'm guessing the superintendent is aware of this, that the calculation of Heath City School District in terms of the local share versus state share for future building projects was legislatively basically recalculated. So that their local share went from being in the 80s down to the low 50s, I believe. So in terms of the economic impact of new building projects, there will be significantly more that is picked up by the state than what will be picked up by local taxpayers, which, when you combine that with the school funding formula and how they will be impacted by the increase in enrollment, the economic impact of these students going to Heath City schools will be dramatically reduced when it comes to new facilities.
Thank you for your insight. Anything else from anyone? Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dodd.
We do have our board policy update of first reading right
Yeah,
now.
so I'll actually
it's short and
just
sweet.
sit right here because it's short and sweet. So this is the first reading of the policies listed on the whiteboard. The policies are related to credit card, student absences and excuses, truancy, administration of medicine to students, and the use of epinephrine delivery system through nasal spray. So high level, there's quite a bit changing in the student absence and excuse and truancy language, because there's some things that have been put into legislation that we're going to be responding to. You'll see more of that language from an execution standpoint in the student handbooks. And we have to work with the county commissioners and the county court system to kind of work through that process. It's required by the new legislation. Doesn't necessarily impact us as much because our relative truancy rates are low, but that is something that will adjust. The administration of medicine to students, version 1, is really over-the-counter medications. They now have the ability, we have the ability to, with parent permission, provide something that would be over-the-counter and have some of that available to students in the clinics versus having parents have to come in and administer that medicine to their own child. And do you want to speak to credit cards or no?
Yeah, so the the change with credit cards is really just putting into policy that incurring a convenience fee when paying with a credit card is a proper public purpose, but specifying that we need to have procedures in place to ensure that they are reasonable. So that we're not incurring a convenience fee of some exorbitant amount paying by credit card when we could alternatively pay the vendor with a check directly, for example.
Real quick question about the absences, excuses, truancy. Is that information that will be communicated to parents at the beginning of the year?
Yes.
Okay, big enough changes that we'll need to make sure.
Correct.
Okay.
Does that protect our ALE policy for our alternative learning experiences?
Yes. So it will be folded into
Okay.
some of that language that we've created.
Thank you.
Okay.
And now, we're just moving on to our federal grants
Yes,
presentation.
I will stop sharing and,
We've got Ms. Spence and
Yes.
Mr. Burnett.
so, as you know, annually, we have to do a presentation, it's right here, Gwen. We have to do a presentation related to federal grants. And remember last year, the presentation was pretty quick because we didn't receive a lot of federal dollars. So we kind of trimmed that conversation back. It's also going to be a brief presentation this year, although we are receiving a little bit more revenue from the federal government.
So I'll begin. There's 4 federal grants that, or 4 title programs that we get access to. We still will not be getting Title IV funds, but because we are going to get Title I's funds this year, we expect that to return next year. So that's what I have to say about that one. We'll come back to that next year. Title 1A, we haven't gotten for the last 2 years, and it's returned for an amount of $21,000 and change. As you can see on here, in the past, we got almost $100,000. So it's something, but it's not near what we got previously. Just a reminder, with both the title funds that we're going to talk, all the title funds that we're going to talk about, we get allocated for the entire school district and schools within that school district. So you'll see this pop up on the other slides that Granville Christian will get anywhere from 8 to 10% of that, depending on their population, their enrollment, and how many students qualify for that. There are other districts that could in the future. Right now, that's going to be the only district that's going to qualify for us. The other thing that we have to keep in mind is we can't supplant something. If we're already paying for a service, we can't now use those funds to offset that cost and pay for it out of these funds. It has to be supplemental to what we already provide. The hard part for that is going to be for us is having 2 years without that and trying to keep the same level of service. What is their definition of supplement and supplant that we're going to have to navigate through as we go through this? So how we intend to spend these Title I funds is early interventions. That's based on school districts, or school buildings, that have economically disadvantaged rates, that have students at risk rates. So things like early literacy, graduation, are things that we can use these funds to support our student body with as they go through school. And that will be primarily the 2 places that we would intend to spend this money. The high school is being a building that has a higher economically disadvantaged rate. It's a new conundrum for us. And this has usually been in elementaries. We're getting more guidance on that, but that's how we would allocate those funds in that particular building for Title 1A. Title II is a little bit different. It's improving teacher quality, and we really look at this as a professional development. So these are funds that we can allocate. You can see last year we got almost $50,000. This year we got under $35,000. So again, the allocation is much different, but again, it's money that we can use with our staff to pay for some of the professional development, but we can't supplant, we can only supplement. So there are other reasons or other uses that we can use those things for, teacher retention, address class sizes and so forth, that we really aren't going to utilize those funds for. So how we're going to spend them, there's going to be a big chunk that's going to be going to literacy professional development with the new wit and wisdom that the state forced upon us 2 years ago. We're still implementing and learning how to use that program from a literacy perspective. We can use it for some innovative instructional programming like self-determined learning, giving kids more autonomy and choice in their coursework. Some math-related PD. There's some new math
state rules coming out here that are going to be coming up soon that are going to cause us to serve some students differently, and there's going to be some professional development some of our staff members are going to need in that particular area. And at the high school level, we can use this to prepare more teachers to teach AP and College Credit Plus. It's wonderful to have CCP courses in our high school. Our kids like it. They don't have to leave the building. They can get access to those programs. And then, AP teachers, over time they change and so forth. So you always want to have backups. We can use these funds to send staff to those summer institutes to get certified to cover. And then, as always, there are things that we need to work on in-house from a PD perspective, and we can use these funds to cover subs during the school year for in-house collaboration. So that's how we intend to spend that $33,000 and change for next year. So any questions on my part before I turn it over to Gwen? Okay, thank you very much.
All right, so the other three areas we have are Title III is our English language learners. Just to be aware, we expect this to be the last year of these funds. It is not in the federal budget. Going forward, we believe these funds will be sunsetted and rolled into more of a competitive grant orientation than granted by the state through the number of students we have. So we, in order to spend these funds, we have to be part of a consortium because we don't hit the $10,000 threshold. So we are in a consortium with the ESC of Central Ohio. Same rules apply with these funds as all of the ones that Brian just talked through. We can supplement but not supplant. We use a lot of this for classroom supplies. We've had some newcomers come in that have been, it's a bit of a different profile for us in our district, and so we've spent some funds getting our newcomers some different tools. IDEA Part B funds, again, we came in just a little bit less than we have in years past. This is not changing. Granville Christian does have access to these funds as well. They can choose to access these, and we do have an intervention specialist and part of a speech language clinician that they help provide services for students in their building through that. And this is always 2 years in arrears, so this is from the special ed count 2 years ago. And we have typically used these funds for staffing to just support our members. And we're still in that 5 to 6 intervention, more like 5 total number of intervention specialists that we do with that. And then we also get IDEA early childhood funds as well. And these, again, we funnel these through Licking County ESC, Licking County Regional ESC. Again, this goes back to kids, the number of kids that we had in preschool back in fiscal year 25. And this just helps offset our preschool costs. Again, it's not a huge chunk of change. It did go up a little bit this year, but that's because we had more kids 2 years ago in preschool. So, any questions about the IDEA funds? Title III, anything on that lines? Okay. I will jump into the next board presentation we have, which is our annual wellness plan that we have to do. And so this is not new to you guys. This is we're in our 3rd year of this wellness plan. Just as a reminder, these are dollars that flow through from the governor's budget about 4 years ago that are delegated to support wellness plans. We use a number of different tools to look at what our students need from a wellness perspective. We have a lot of partners in the community with Licking County, with Licking Memorial Hospital, the ESC, private folks, our Concord Counseling contract, things along that lines. So we're just to review, year 2, back in 24-25, we started this very brief conversation around homework practice that is now going to launch into a bigger conversation. We did some strength finder things with our 5th graders. Our PBIS teams are completely trained and we're enrolled in that. And then we're continuing to work through our multiple tiered system of support, K-12. So what did we do this past year? We moved through PBIS. There are 3 tiers of training that we have to do through the state. We completed tier 3 for our district-wide team. So now we move from training our district-wide team to implementation into our buildings. Moving forward, we added this year with all of the attendance things that are coming through and being changed. We've added quite a bit to attendance related to our MTSS practices. So when students have attendance red flags, we are moving them through the MTSS process. And what can we do from intervention standpoints and supports for those kids who are starting to miss school, and we're catching that early. And for some of our students, that does include some of the ALE work, because that has an impact when you're not here. And then I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Brown to talk through the school's conditions and structures that we're starting to move forward with, and how that blends into our wellness plan as we look at year 4 and 5.
Yeah, so we have articulated the next 4 years of our approach related to, being a space for human development and the notion of Orchard graduate and agency and autonomy through as self-directed learning. So we have a mini strategic plan that outlines the next 4 years and the specific outcomes that we want. They're going to be baked into my goals, which then lead into the rest of the organization's work and activities. So that's part of that. The why is because we know that agency and autonomy really do actually promote better health outcomes for students. And so it is kind of a mental health strategy that we took as an approach. Instead of getting more social workers or doing something through a Band-Aid approach, really trying to change the structures and conditions that students experience to help promote wellness within the student population.
So year 4 will be moving that really into implementation, and then towards the end of year 4, and obviously into year 5, we'll start to evaluate for our next 5-year plan. So we're just moving that process forward at this stage. Any questions about the wellness plan?
We're good, thank you so much.
And now we have the monthly financial.
Go ahead, Fred, say it. Mr. Wolf.
The internationally award-winning financial report.
Thank you, got it.
All right. So for the month of May compared to last year, we are about $6.6 million less than where we were. And just as a reminder, that is due to the capital projects transfer that we did in June of last year. So then when you look out to June of this year, our cash balance is actually expected to be a little bit above where we were last year. So that means that year to date, we are expecting, well, not year to date, through the end of the fiscal year, we are expecting to bring in more than what we have spent. So that is positive. Looking at revenue just for the month of May compared to last May, really nothing to even highlight this month as a variance, very much in alignment with prior year. Year-to-date revenue, local tax revenue is up, and that's primarily the income tax, which we talked about last month, I believe, which was 12% over prior year. And that is an actual, having received our last income tax payment for the fiscal year in April. And then state revenue is up, and that is primarily the implementation of the performance supplement, which was new this year in the funding formula. On the expenditure side, similarly, small variances over prior year, not a lot to highlight though as far as variances. Year-to-date expenditures, the largest variance is in salary and benefits, which is expected, of course, with base salary increases as well as steps. And then purchase service is a close second behind salary and benefits, and that is really a combination of special education contracted services, but largely custodial, repairs and maintenance, and utilities. So that's really where we're seeing a lot of increase in costs compared to prior year. Capital funds, projects that we have ongoing this summer, the pit filler and air handler 6 should be completed, so we'll start seeing some more payments on those. And then 3 and 4, air handler 3 and 4 will be into next summer, so that will continue to report on over the next year. And then we have 5.4 million left in the fund for future projects. And then we have our cash reconciliation, and that is all, unless there are questions.
Just to remind everyone, even though our revenue is up, we are still within our cash balance policy.
Yes.
In our days of
Yeah,
cash.
and we will look at that next month when we have year-end numbers, and I'll show how we have ended the year in terms of our cash balance policy.
Great, thank you so much.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
Great, thank you so much. So we're now at the portion of our meeting where we have public comments. If you have a comment to make, please come up to the microphone, just state your name and address. You have up to 3 minutes to speak. Just a reminder, the meeting is a meeting of the Board of Education for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not considered a public community meeting. Okay, seeing as there are no public comments, we can move on to board discussion, which we have titled our end of the year reflection.
Yes, and it will be brief. The year's over. We're transitioning. We're moving to 26, 27, and doing all the work in preparation for the start of the school year at this point. But I do want to take a moment and just celebrate the class of 26, because they really have done a fantastic job of, really taking that explorer's mentality to the next level and embrace the agency and autonomy work that we've been trying to promote throughout the school district. When we talk about our athletics, our arts, and our academic programs, our students continue to shine. And all we're trying to do is prepare them for that next step. And I think we do that very well, no matter what that is. Whether that's college, career, military, workforce, we really do a wonderful job in preparing students to make that next step that is aligned with what they're wanting to pursue. So, and the governance team does a great job of helping us do that work, so thank you.
Any other thoughts on the school year, the graduation, anything?
Kudos to Mr. Hinton and
Yeah,
the team. I'm moving it inside.
I was gonna mention for another reason, notwithstanding he's receiving $500 tonight, Mr. Hinton and his team especially wrote the playbook for how you move an outdoor graduation indoor in about 3 hours. So kudos to you and your team on that. I think this board, especially, we're an active board, so we are in the schools a lot. So I think us seeing the activities going on in the elementary, intermediate, middle, and high school, for what you guys not only do throughout the school year, but how it ended, very, very nicely done for this past school year.
Yeah, just to second that, having a personal eye on 3 buildings with different teachers and, certainly not perfect children. They have to, surprise, but no, just looking back and reflecting on how much growth I saw and in so many different areas, I really want to thank the whole team. So thank you.
Your children are watching this video.
Yeah.
Oh, I told them every day. Oh, my parenting style is very good. Thank God they don't come to my school with me. No. That's why I send them to school. I'd ruin them.
Yes, I attended a lot of the arts programs at the end of the year, and they were just incredible every single time. I don't care if they were young kids or seniors, it shocks me every time how talented our kids are and how well they're instructed and developed from a young age all the way through. It's really fun to watch.
All right, we can move on to
Action
Oh,
agenda.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to report, I attended as the rep to CTAC board. On June 11th, they conducted what they call the Jill of all trades. And it's to introduce girls to opportunities out there that they might not consider. And they had over 100 participants show up, and it was pretty amazing going around. Watching them, they get to engage in different things. They had welding and woodworking and public safety, And it was, they do a really nice job of getting the girls engaged and excited about this. They had incredible number of volunteers. A lot of Licking County companies were represented. And I was really pleased that those companies sent female employees. And it was just, it was a great program. And I'm, very grateful that we're so involved with CTEC.
Thank you. All right, the action agenda, item 6.01, school fees for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
And just as a reminder, we have a fee structure of GIS, GMS, and GHS. We do not have a fee structure of GES.
Okay. I know this is a little bit for inflation.
Inflationary adjustments only.
Okay, great. Take the roll, please.
Mr. Cron?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman? Aye. Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
6.02, we will approve the lunch prices for the 26-27 school year.
Second.
And we have a flat rate, same as last year, which is great in this inflationary environment. So kudos to ABI for what they do and the quality of the food that they provide.
Thank you. Take the roll, please.
Ms. Coleman? Aye. Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Mr. Cron?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
6.03 is the approval of the service agreement with Boundless.
So moved.
Second.
Boundless is a provider that we use for students with special needs. So this is a contracted service.
Thank you. Take the roll, please.
Mr. Cron?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman? Aye. Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
6.04 is an approval for a contract with Folkestone Academy.
So moved.
Second.
This is also a special education service provider.
Okay, thank you. Take the roll, please.
Ms. Coleman? Aye. Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Cron?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Next item is 6.05, approval of the hourly rate for seasonal technology support.
So moved. Second.
Okay, our STAR students are the students that help Eric perform some of the technology miracles that happen over the summer to get us prepared for the next year. And so we annually approve their rate of compensation. So this is for the effective July 1 of 2026 rate.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Coleman? Aye. Mr. Cron?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Okay, next is the consent agenda, 7.01 through 7.18. I would call your attention to some of the, oh, yes.
So moved.
Motion.
Oh, I'm sorry. Second. Take the roll, please.
Nope.
No.
Let me discuss it. All right, so we have a couple of items that I wanted to call to your attention. One being the people that are leaving the organization for a variety of different reasons. Obviously, we appreciate their service to our organization. And then we also have the people coming in to fill those positions. So we're looking forward to those employees coming in and making a difference in the different departments that they will serve. Of note, one of them is the previous high school principal is coming back as a position that he was in previously to being in administration as a school counselor. So we're excited to have Matt back. We have the supplementals that were amended at the beginning of the meeting. And then there are recognition of the National School Board or National Board Certification Stipend for Caleb Slavinsky, Mike Bate, and Emily Moon in recognition of that work for last year. And then we have our PBS IS team and several other stipends that we are paying out with this approval. Then we have 2 field trips, boys and girls basketball teams. They actually already went. I get to approve those in interim meetings, but we're approving them in recognition that they occurred. questions?
What were the changes in groups again?
Jim Redding is going from group 3 to group 1,
Right?
and Jessica Smith is going from group 6 to group 5. And that will be represented in the record of the meeting.
Did Jessica Smith is in those
No,
places?
just for the vocal music performance.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, any other questions? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Aye. Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Item 8.01, approval of the permanent appropriation resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, this is the final approval of the budget for the current fiscal year. We did have to make a change to the general fund to account for our carryover encumbrances that go into next year. So there's been a change with how our budget has to align with the forecast, which basically just means that we need to align those moving forward. So we are doing that in this item, and then we'll have another action for next year's budget, and we'll do a similar action as we approve the forecast twice next fiscal year. So we're amending to align with the forecast is essentially what we're doing.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Aye. Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Thank you. 8.02, approval of the fund advances for fiscal year end to be repaid in next fiscal year.
So moved.
Second.
This is our annual advance process, which takes money from the general fund and moves it into our grant funds that operate on a reimbursement basis so that they don't end the fiscal year in negative cash status. And then in July, we return that advance.
Gotcha. Take the roll.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Aye. Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Item 8.03, approval of the temporary appropriation resolution.
So moved.
Second.
As I mentioned, this is approval of the formal budget for next fiscal year, so this allows us to begin spending beginning July 1st.
Great.
The changes that are reflected would be anything related to like the grants, the different grant allocations. So we set the budget for those funds based on the allocations that we get from the state. So items like that change. The capital projects fund, that changes based on the cash balance. So we only appropriate for the cash that's available. So the changes really all align with the cash that we have available or projects that we have going on in those different funds.
Okay. Makes sense. Any questions? Take the roll, please.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Aye. Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Item 8.04, authorization to request tax advances.
So moved.
Second. Okay, this is required twice a year so that the county auditor can send us property tax payments in the interim before the settlement comes. So it really just helps us from a cash flow perspective. Take the roll, please. Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Aye. Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye. So I'd like us to move into executive session to consider matters required to be kept confidential by federal law or regulations or state statutes, and also to consider the employment of a public employee or official. There will be no formal business done after this time, right? Okay. I do need a motion for that,
So
though.
moved.
Second.
Take the roll, please.
Ms. Deeds?
Aye.
Mr. Wolf?
Aye.
Ms. Cohen? Mr. Cronk?
Aye.
Ms. Shaw?
Aye.
Okay. And going upstairs.
Okay.